Here in my workroom with my two assistants snoring. I'm going to talk a bit about threads and the threads that I use, which are Madeira threads. That's the brand of thread I use. It's a really good one for machine embroidery. This is the colour palette of the piece that I'm working on at the moment. I use, in a sewing machine, you have a bobbin thread as well. There's a top thread and a bottom thread, and I use for my bobbin thread an overlocking thread. It's you wouldn't be wasting your good thread on the bobbin because that's the underneath of a piece. It's actually kind of interesting. You can see the sort of shadow of the piece that's on the front. So that's the back, and I use just a plain overlocking thread. It's used in clothes manufacturing. It's kind of interesting actually, isn't it, the back of it? Anyway, that's the back, this is the front. So Madeira threads on the top. They're an amazing range of colours in Madeira. There's my thread holder with all the threads, and I have more in here. I'll just show you. In my little drawers here, I've got it's like a little Aladdin's cave. What else? Yeah, so I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of threads, and you can actually mix and blend threads by overlaying, lightly overlaying, and I do this technique all the time. I mix colours. So just like paint, you can, or any other medium, any other colour medium, you can blend and mix. I'm working here on the silk panel that piece will be mounted on, and if you notice the silk panel, the fabric is much finer, so I have that stretched in an embroidery hoop, and I work within that hoop to keep the tension of the piece, of the fabric, rigid and taut, so that you're not making it buckle too much. Whereas on the piece that I'm the central image, I use my linen scrim, and you'll notice there's no hoop for this, because I use the linen scrim fabric that I was telling you about. I use that fused with watercolour paper, and that gives it a kind of firmness, and I can just work on that without using the hoop, which is sort of confining. It's quite irritating. You have to just work within the hoop, then take it off, move it over, whereas with the linen scrim with the watercolour paper, I can move it anywhere I like and do any bit I want at any time. So that's just a little bit about thread.